Welcome to the What is Stoicism podcast.
A surefire way to prolong a worry, fear, or other mental disturbance is to try to get as far away from it as possible. One manifestation of this is when we seek out external comfort or stimulation to soothe us of or distract us from our inner turmoil. The issue is, of course, that the inner turmoil is allowed to persist unchallenged. In these cases, we miss the vital step of actually confronting what is going on inside us so that we can accept, understand, and deal with it. Only then can we start to break free from old patterns of negative thinking. In his book Clarity and Connection, the poet Young Pueblo addresses this missing step. Quote, "You can change your location, meet new people, and still have the same old problem. To truly change your life, you need to look inward, get to know and love yourself, and heal the trauma and dense conditioning in your mind. This is how you get to the root. Internal changes have a significant external impact." End quote. The philosopher Socrates also had a wonderful explanation for this neglected self-reflection, as the Stoic Seneca quotes in his 28th moral letter to Lucilius. Quote, "Why do you wonder that globe-trotting does not help you, seeing that you always take yourself with you? The reason which sets you wandering is ever at your heels." End quote. Like it or not, we can't get away from ourselves. Wherever we go, there we are. So if we're always going to be taking ourselves with us, what are we to do to ensure we aren't a burden to ourselves? Well, if we take on board the lessons that Socrates and Young Pueblo provide, we first need to look behind us for the reason which set us wandering. We need to face what we're trying to get away from. We need to look inward, get to know and love ourselves, and slowly start to change the conditioning of our minds to make them less reliant on old ways of thinking that actually repel us from engaging with ourselves. The inner harmony that accompanies these changes soon makes us worthy companions to ourselves, regardless of where we're going. And it's worth noting that you're under no obligation to preserve your old ways of thinking. That might seem like an obvious statement, but it's an option that's often neglected. When we form an opinion, we also tend to implicitly declare undying loyalty to that opinion and prepare to defend its honor from anyone who would challenge it. But what if that opinion was formed as a result of inexperience, or simply copied from someone else? What if it was part of a phase that we have moved on from? What if we need to let go of the opinions of our former selves in order to grow? The spell of familiarity must be broken, writes Ward Farnsworth in The Practicing Stoic, and this is best done by looking at the great range of responses to the same things that have come to seem natural to people in different conditions. In other words, what we are used to seeing others do and what we're used to doing ourselves can make anything seem normal. Convention and habituation can affect our judgments and opinions, making us feel like we came up with them ourselves and that we're inextricably attached to them. According to Farnsworth, these ingrained patterns make us rush to interpret new occurrences through the lens of our old opinions. Quote, "As soon as an event happens, we're quick to assign it a meaning. It is tagged as good news or bad news, as a reason for excitement or outrage, and so on. Or we give it a place in a story that we tell ourselves, long-running or new. Then we react to those labels and narratives and imaginings. Stoicism regards this process as a trap." End quote. If we want to break free from our old opinions, or at least confirm if they are still valid, we must be willing to accept that our old way of seeing things might not be okay as it is. We must be willing to examine judgments, let go of long-held views, and potentially give up on an outdated version of ourselves. As all physicians and poets know, to paraphrase the German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche, to make an end requires more courage than to make a new verse. And as Ward Farnsworth tells us, building this courage, the kind that enables us to face ourselves and to examine ourselves, is exactly what practicing Stoicism helps us do. Quote, "The work of philosophy is to take responsibility for our own thinking, and in doing so, to liberate ourselves from the attachments and misjudgments that otherwise dictate our experience.